Hello and welcome to 9 Inch Charge. This is Old Old Wednesdays. I'm Dan and I'm joined as ever by Tom.
Hello.
Hello, Tom. And we've got a special guest somewhere over my shoulder, I think, just having a snooze on the games table. Today we are talking about the big summer preview. There are new models for Tomb Kings, new Arcane Journals, a little snippet about even more Arcane Journals on the way. And it looks like Age of Sigmar has just run out of ideas, so is printing more models for the old world. Get your tankards ready. It's Old on Wednesday. All right, Tom, let's start with the old world and new Arcane Journals and new models for Tomb Kings. Do plastic models as well. Because previously, a lot of the heroes and things that we've been getting, if they're kind of one-offs, they're not normally plastic, they're normally resin. So it's cool to see some plastic kits.
We've been seeing an awful lot of plastic kits recently, haven't we, in all honesty? It is real exciting.
So let's have a start with these Battle Standard Bearers and Tomb Princes. I love them. I really like the Battle Standard. I really like the two scorpions going down the side of the banner. And the horse, I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because we said it in a previous video, I think the skeletal horseman is right down there on our bottom three models in the game.
Yeah.
And they've just given him this massive glow up. I've just made and shared a meme actually on the community site, which is the you and the guy she tells you not to worry about. And this is definitely the guy she tells you not to worry about, isn't he?
Yeah. It's such a beautiful model. That horse is really nice as well, isn't it?
Yeah. It is a beautiful model. I love the way his tattered cloak comes around the shield.
Yeah.
Is just beautiful. Absolutely perfect. So yeah, I can't say enough good things about these models. I wonder how that model on horse, if you put them in a unit of skeletal horsemen, how it's going to look.
I wouldn't put this model anywhere near those skeletons. They don't deserve it.
Because that's one of the things that we said when we were doing our top and bottom models, where we were like, well, as a unit, they kind of look all right. But I think as a unit with this, might not look
They
great.
might suffer from the Empire Knight syndrome. So the new Empire captain, I can't think of his name, on the horseback, he's like massively out of scale compared to the rest of the Empire Knights. It's like he's got his own little toy knights he's riding around with. It's quite funny.
But
so much so that a few of the hobby group have spent painstaking hours scaling down other knights or scaling up other knights to make sure they fit with that model.
Oh, I know. Dan was forever printing at sort of 98% or 96%, wasn't he, to try and sort of get things right. But yeah, anyway, that aside, really beautiful model. And the Leash Priest as well on foot. Again, another stunning skeletal horse model. I really, really like the mane and the tail, what's left of it. See, this is a very static stood horse, but there's motion carried in it with the mane and the tail. So I really like it. I like both of them. I think they're great models. I think people will definitely be picking these up, and it's cool to have different options as well. To have people on horses, because I think the way 1.5 has gone, you might not necessarily want to take your big dragon anymore per se. You might want to be trying out different heroes. I think the chariot hero we talked about before is still a really strong and viable option. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what people do with these with their list building.
Yeah, I really like how they've captured that mummified look to that skin. The skin on these is absolutely phenomenal. They've done an incredible job painting them.
Do you know what? I don't really know where I stand with the skin on these guys, because when I was painting my Leash Priest, I went to there's a museum here in Liverpool that's got undead Egyptians you can go and look at, and their skin is like black, like tar. And then these are kind of a bit more like fantasy zombies, which I suppose is the aesthetic. You got green goblins, you got fantasy zombies and things like that. But when I painted mine, I did really kind of dark brown skin, because that's reflective of the one I saw in the museum. But you're right. I think these paint jobs are really good.
Yeah,
I think the
just wonder how
freehand stuff is great on them.
that look would play against the rest of the model. I'm not sure if it would read that well. I don't know. I look at these, I instantly think, yeah, you're undead.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think it's a great paint job. To be honest, they've done a really good job. I think some of the models that we've seen lately, the paint jobs have been hit or miss compared to how they usually are, and these definitely hit. But before we get on to the Arcane Journals, just the first thing in the article, it says, the arrival of Cathay into the Old World is just the beginning. There are yet more great models to come, and plenty more Arcane Journals on the way over the next few months, starting with the Tomb Kings of Khemri. What's interesting about that is plenty more. So there's 2 revealed here. I wouldn't say 2 is plenty. I would say 4 is plenty, 5 is plenty. I don't know. It's a little bit subjective.
I think your plenty starts at 4.
Yeah. So that'll be really interesting to see. There's been rumours that we'd see Dogs of War, that we'd see Southern Realms. So it would be interesting to see that. But in the meantime, we've got these 2. So the first one being the War of Cetra's Fury. So this details Cetra's full-scale invasion into the Border Princes and the Vaults, which is a mountain range to the south of Bretonnia, which is something that was alluded to way back when in the articles when they were first revealing the maps. And they were saying that Cetra's mission, isn't it, is to reclaim every last piece of gold, every last piece of jewelry, anything that had been looted, and to restore the empire to what it was. And it starts off with an invasion of the Border Princes, and then they went really quiet about it. We hadn't heard a lot about it. So this is a cool driving forward of the narrative. But on top of that, it's got lots of really cool rules in it. So in this one, what does it say? You'll find rules for mounts for Khemrian characters, the incantations of the mortuary cults, and various armies of infamy, including a Dwarven Slayers army and the Border Princes, alongside rules for smaller bouts of Warhammer, the Old World.
I'm really excited about that, Dan. Do you know why? I think it was one of the articles we saw not too long ago. It talked about the individual Arcane Journals and what they're bringing to the table regarding their lore. And they say that the Dwarven one is the only standalone book that doesn't contribute to the wider narrative. Now, I'm wondering if this is how they're going to bring dwarves into what is going on in the Empire and in Bretonnia right now.
I think it's great that you can do small pickup 500-point games, because I really like the idea of playing a couple of games in a day. And just,
I remember when we used to play 3,000-point games in a day. We used to play multiple of those.
Yeah, but we were good at playing the game then, and we were slick, and we knew the rules inside out, and we were fueled by alcohol and various other curry and whatever else. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And I'm really interested in the Border Princes, because we did quite a lot of lore reading about the Border Princes and studying of the maps, and we were looking at all the different lords and where they might have come from, and there's like one kicked out of Astalia and all this kind of stuff. I think one kicked out of Tilia, who've kind of made their way over there. That we know there's Bretonians, exiled lords, and the Border Princes. But I wonder what they'll give you, what they'll say you can take, because it should really kind of be a kind of hodgepodge of different human forces. So I wonder what it will say, you can have X unit, but you can use whatever to represent it. I don't know. It's something that I'm really interested in seeing what they do with it. And it's something where you can create an army completely to your own flavour, hopefully. So if you've got a colour scheme that you want to try, or you've got your own narrative you want to play out, the Border Princes is the place to do that.
Absolutely. I think it's really interesting they just squeeze all of this into 48 pages.
Yeah, that seems to be the limit, doesn't it? 48 pages and no more per book.
No less, no more.
Yeah, so yeah, there is a lot to fit in. By the time you've put... The Armies of Infamy should be easy enough, but I wonder if the Border Princes is going to be an army of infamy or if it's going to be its own thing. Just got to wait and see, I suppose. But
yeah,
for me, as I've said, I really hope that they do a lot with that, because I can see myself doing a project of that and going down the rabbit hole and creating my own character and all the
You're going to
rest
go
of
full like Warhammer historicals. How are you going to research and which regiments were hanging around? You're going to create all of that, and I can't wait for that. I'm trying to do a bit of that with my Empire project, so I've going around at the minute trying to find bespoke character models and using like different ideas for character models, especially like how they're depicted on the model, to try and drive a bit of narrative in my force. So that's going to be really fun when I get around to painting characters.
Yeah, so hopefully this gives you a lot. I wonder what they're doing with magic items as well. That'd be cool to see what magic items are in the board princes. All right, and then next we've got the Arcane Journal, the Dawn of the Storm Dragon. This is really cool. So we did a video not that long ago actually where we were talking about the updated lore, and we're talking about Frida the Chainmaker as she leads a chaos invasion into the Empire. And what this book will do, it will drive that narrative forward where Miao Ying turns up on the shores of Bretonia to aid the Empire in repelling chaos, which is a part of the narrative I was unaware of. I think this is a new part of the narrative they've created. It's quite uncharacteristic, actually, of Cathay, because they didn't seem to interfere in the old world too much in the old lore. So now we get to see them come across. So, what does it say here? In the spring of 2277, as the Chaos Champion Frida the Chainmaker ransacks the northern reaches of the Empire, a fleet led by Miao Ying sets out from Grand Cathay, intent on beating back the scions of the Dark Gods and bringing diplomacy with the Empire of Man. So that is that's pretty cool. A bit of brand new lore that we've never heard of before. So it says the Arcane Journal details the turbulent history as well as the warriors and heroes involved in them. You'll find terrain generation tables, guidelines for multiplayer games, linked battles, and a new army of infamy, the Jade Fleet, an alliance between Grand Cathay and the people of Westerland. Not so interested in terrain generation tables, if I'm honest. It will just be, roll a d6 and it gives you a 6+ ward save, or something, or it's something like that. It'll be a little random element to your game, but I don't think it'll be anything too much.
I probably just wouldn't use it, to be fair.
Yeah. Guidelines for multiplayer games. Well, there you are, Tom. You no longer have to play Warhammer the Old World on your own. You can play multiplayer with somebody else.
It's tough because I didn't realise there were guidelines for playing it on your own, but there you go.
So this must be 3-player games. Surely,
or
is what it means.
4-player games?
Yeah, well, they did Triumph and Treachery, didn't they?
Yeah.
For 8th edition. So I'm assuming this is some kind of updated Triumph and Treachery where you can play 3-player. It's just like most of the community articles, it's just not particularly well worded.
No. Do you know what would be cool, Dan?
Yeah,
if they launched this and they built a framework for like a massively multiplayer tabletop game, right? I know someone did it back in the day with a game called Rapid Fire, where people had to report up the chain of command, and they would make like dice checks to see if their commands got through. So, like, if they're going to do the Storm of Chaos, just do a worldwide campaign, but actually have people who are designated generals and stuff like that. That would be cool. There's an idea, Games Workshop. Go with it.
I wonder if it will be, because they did do games. They did do games on big scales, didn't they? Where you could play more points. But I kind of hope that it's still on a 6x4, but 3 or 4 players in corners. That's what I would hope.
Yeah. Depends on how many points. 6x4 gets real small real quick.
Yeah, but I think it'll be good fun to to play with multiple people like that. But what I'm actually really interested in is these linked battles. So I'm kind of hoping that what that means is one battle will lead to another. So you've got an objective, and depending on what you do in that objective, will dictate what happens in the next battle. So you need to capture a point or assassinate an enemy character or something like that. But if you do or you don't, it dictates what happens in the next battle.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I know lots of stores used to do it back in the day when you used to do like a tale of many gamers, right? You'd win a game or you win a couple of games and you got additional points you can bring along. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, but instead of just winning the game, you have to complete an objective. I would quite like to see. And if there were enough of those kind of scenarios, you could do that in a campaign kind of situation.
Yeah, and like a campaign could just be the course of one battlefield, couldn't it? Really, you could play like a really narrative granular across one battlefield that takes 6 or 7 linked battles to play out instead of the march from Macragge to Terra. Different game
system. And an army of infamy, the Jade Fleet, an alliance between Grand Cathay and the people of Westerland. My understanding is that it's more a Grand Cathay army than it is an Empire army. Oh, we didn't talk about the army of infamy for the dwarves, which is the Slayer army, which is a really cool idea. I like the idea of a Slayer army. It's just good fun, isn't it? And probably a way for them to push those Age of Sigmar models that nobody really likes of the giant baby army.
Oh, no.
The Fire Slayers.
I just don't want to see it. Don't want to see it.
Yeah, okay, so that's what we've got coming out. Definitely I'm going to pick up both of these Arcane Journals. There's stuff in both of them that I'm really going to look forward to. Different ways of playing and the lore being pushed forward is super exciting. And the Arcane Journals aren't massively expensive. They're actually pretty reasonable for what they are. And it's nice that Games Workshop is just giving you just different flavors and different options to play. I think that's great. Leaning into narrative or casual play or more players. These are the things that I remember in, is it the 6th edition rulebook, where like in the back you had like Warhammer Siege, Warhammer Skirmish, all these different ways to play, just kind of built into the book all ready to go. So it's nice to see them bringing back some of these older ideas of giving you different ways to play, and not like, I think Triumph and Treachery was like a big box, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was big enough, but I think
tokens and things in it, didn't it?
These things take time, don't they? I think if they came out and gave us all of these options, I think people have ended up in like decision paralysis. Nothing would have happened. But it's exciting.
I'd rather have it in an Arcane Journal than have to go out and buy a big box, and just have the option to play out of the Arcane Journal if I wanted to.
Yeah, it depends if the tokens are bringing something cool to the game.
Right, so next we're going to talk about models released in Age of Sigmar. Kind of feels like Age of Sigmar is doing us a bit of a service at the moment, because although there wasn't going to be this big crossover between armies, there is this big crossover between armies. So firstly, let's have a look at Underworlds, and I see you've got that up there. So there are 2 warbands out for the new season. Spikewood, one of them is Kanothi, which are just basically Wood Elves. I really like this, and the reason why I like this is these are they look like a new take on Wild Riders, where they're like centaur elves, and they've got a very Wild Rider aesthetic to them. We were talking before about like the new meta and where we think things are going, and there's lots and lots since the new Arcane Journal came out. Lots of Wood Elves players that are taking heroes on Great Stags, and you can actually fit like a Lord and 2 heroes on Great Stags in your army. Pick this up and put them on 50mm bases.
Yeah,
because they're different enough from the Wild Riders that they could look like your hero characters. So that's what I'm going to do. I mean, I've got a Lord on Great Stag there. The stag itself looks like looks like a moose more than a stag, I think, or like a bull. It's very muscular. It's not. It doesn't look. I think these look better, to be honest. And you can guarantee they'll be cheaper for 3 than buying 3 of those, and they're different poses. Whereas the Great Stag hero is only in one pose. So yeah, really rate these. Definitely worth a purchase if you are a Wood Elf player. And then the next one is a kind of random assortment of Chaos Dwarves with a sort of hobgrot or hobgoblin assassin. But there's usability there. There's a guy who kind of looks like an engineer. There's a guy who's definitely a hero resting on his sword. There's cool stuff there. But I'd rather, to be honest, save talking about the Chaos Dwarves and go straight into the big reveal of the Hellsmiths of Hashut. When I first read this, I thought it said Helmsmith because they were talking about the hats in like the reveal show, and I was like, Helmsmiths, just like going around making it because they all wear big hats, don't they? And I was like, don't call them the Hell. Luckily, they're called Hellsmiths. So yeah, it's been rumored for a while, especially since they brought out Hobgoblins for Age of Sigmar, that we were going to get Chaos Dwarves, and people were kind of hearing the rumors, but nothing concrete had come out. And then all of a sudden, it gives Chaos Dwarves, and they've got war machines and like big fighty monsters, and all the stuff that you remember is back. Like you've got your bull centaurs, and you've got like your big centaur rider. They've even got hobgoblins, which haven't been released in Warhammer Fantasy for like probably since before I was in the hobby, I would say. So cool to see those. We were talking, weren't we? And personally, we prefer the old Chaos Dwarf models.
When I say old, I mean the Forge World ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
The train set.
Yeah, lovely bit of resin.
Yeah, I think if you want to collect Chaos Dwarf army, like it is there ready to go. I would probably look elsewhere because the aesthetic just isn't right for me for whatever reason.
I've seen someone do a mock-up of them on squares, and I think they look great on squares.
Oh, okay, cool.
It was shared in our hobby group.
I'm just trying to find. So we've got like a hobby chat, and there's various different folks in there who we know and who we play with. And Chris wrote a kind of a critique of these models, and I just want to find it.
Very damning critique of those models.
Right,
I swear, this model on screen now is probably the one I like the least. It does look a little. It looks too much like a toy for my liking.
It's very angular, isn't it? It's a difficult sell for me, to be honest. I really like the hobgoblins. I think they look really good. To be honest, they look exactly right. And then I did kind of think, oh, their armor might not be quite right. But then I remember they're supposed to be wearing dwarven armor, so it's actually really fitting. So I really like those. Actually, I have to say. Right, here it is. Chris has written, I think the Chaos Dwarfs are worse than the originals. The bull thing looks like Playmobil. The hobgrots are awful. A lot like a bunch of flat panels with a bunch of right angles. The Cruel Boys version is much more interesting. Artillery looks like a knockoff of Necron weapons, if they're available in Lidl. I have not seen a worse release for Age of Sigmar since its inception. Every single other race, even the Legacy Dark Elves, look better. So that's quite a damning, review in our group, and I wouldn't go that far. I actually think the goblins are really good, but there is just something. It's like if you look at the bull centaurs with the bull faces.
Right, let's go and find them. Yeah,
the metal like bull mask, like they don't quite do it for me, but the ones above them do. I think they're cool, and they hark back to the original ones, or the ones we were talking about with the beards, and they keep that aesthetic. And I think they're very fitting in Old World. I know what he's saying about these kind of right angles and things, and the plate armor isn't. It is an odd aesthetic, but with all these things, I do always say wait until you see them on the tabletop, because there's so many times I've seen a model, I thought, I don't know, and then I walk into Games Workshop or Warhammer World and I see it and I think, oh, that's great.
Yeah, I'm sold. Yeah, The one thing that my concern would be about, I've thought about this quite a bit of late, of using the AOS models, is when you look at this particular group of models, they probably would work ranked and flank. But these guys look like a motley crew who are in for a skirmish. I don't think it sells very well when you rank them up on squares. And
Yeah,
potentially these also.
that's one of the things. But I think the other guys, they are quite martial. So like quite a lot of them are either angling their spears forward or holding them at their side. So if you try to rank those spearmen, I think they actually would work.
Yeah, but I don't think it's the ranking of them. I think it's you could work a way to get them all into a rank, but do they look like they're a group of individuals fighting as one unit, or are they just scrabbling around? Like, I know the new Chaos Warriors have that going on.
Yeah,
where they're all doing their individual, like, Mighty Morphin Power Ranger combat pose.
Each one of those is like your champion model, in my opinion, rather than like your rank and file guy. But it's cool to see them back. Like I said, it kind of feels a bit like Age of Sigmar might have run out of ideas a little bit. Somebody did say that weapon, if you go up, those weapons there, like on the back, if you look at it closely around the back, which I can't see in that picture actually, is like there's kind of like a hook where you might be able to fit it to a train. So you never know. I can't see it myself there, but that would be very cool.
That would be very interesting.
So yeah, I think we're kind of a bit meh about them, aren't we?
You could tell by the energy. I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, it's cool to see them back. It is great to see them back, but they're not. It's funny, isn't it? Because we're not. I don't think we are completely set in our ways, if you know what I mean. We're not quite those fuddy-duddy gamers that are like, oh, well, back in my day. Except for this, where we are like, yeah, do you know what?
Back in our day,
they were better.
They were. If they had came out and they stuck true to that Forge World aesthetic, then I'd have been all over it. Maybe I just don't get AOS. I think that's my problem. I don't understand what AOS is anymore.
Oh, there's loads of stuff about AOS that I really like, to be honest. I think that, like, you know, the Orcs and Goblins, the Vampires, they are like Warhammer the Old World models, just done a bit better, in my opinion. There is loads of stuff that's really cool there, but you're right. There are some of these kind of off-the-wall armies, but this has gone in that direction, unfortunately. So let us know what you think about the big summer reveal. Let us know what you think about the Tomb Kings models. It'd be really cool to know what you think about the Arcane Journals, the different ways of playing, what we're going to see in these armies of infamy, and especially the border princes. Really interested to get some speculation going, or if you've heard any rumors, or you know anything about how the border princes are going to work. Because I'm quite the way they sold Border Princes in the previous article was that it was like a sandbox. So really excited that there might be something like that going on. And then lastly, what do you think of Chaos Dwarfs? Do you think that, or whatever they're called, Hellsmiths of Hashut? They're Chaos Dwarfs. Let us know what you think of the Chaos Dwarfs, and let us know what you think of the new Wood Elf Kanothi models as well. And will you be buying them? I think I'm going to be buying that Kanothi Warband. And I'm definitely going to be picking up both Arcane Journals. But let us know in the comments what you think, and we will be back next Wednesday. Until then.